Thanks everyone for joining us online. We'll get started in just a couple minutes.
If you scroll down.
Either so beat up.
Thanks everyone for joining us. I think we'll go ahead and get started. This is just our quarterly update meeting for the administrative program and water system operations for Keeler CSD. I know it sounds like there was a bit of an exciting community meeting last week. So for this meeting, we will just very much be focusing on the water system and anything to do with the water system and Ian Purvis and Pritchard's involvement in that. And so I just ask if there's any other topics that are going to be brought up for discussion. We'll just leave those till the end of the meeting following this one. It'd be great. Appreciate it. And so we have a few people on the line just to read that out. We have 10 folks online. We have Chris Ormond, Don White, per year. So I have Grace Holder, Stephanie Ramirez from Purvis and Pritchard, Steve Spencer from Purvis and Pritchard, and then Fiona Watson. And we have another person who's joined just over their iPhone. There. No, thanks everybody for coming out. That's getting a bit cooler for us all. So I'm going to try and keep it as short and sharp. On our agenda today, it's just basic similar agenda that we've had on our past quarterly meetings. So we'll run through just our community accountability and engagement plan. That's basically just our plan for coming out and discussing any updates with the community. Have any updates on our emergency response, because we did have certain incident back a couple of months ago that we'll discuss. Then performance of the water system, an overview of the water system's financial health, so seeing where the budget lies at the moment, expenditure and revenue, And then any updates on projects and plans, as well as an update on the water rate study that we've been completing. And then I'll have a period for public comment. And then if you have any questions, comments, and as I bring things up and discuss, feel free to just jump in. This is a totally open discussion. And just a little housekeeping on Zoom for anybody joining online. There's a chat feature, so if you have any questions or comments, please just type that in the box there, and Tanya will be checking them as well to make sure that we're getting those questions discussed here. So getting straight into it, our work underway. So with the community accountability and engagement plan, that's standard. That's just us coming out for these quarterly meetings. Addressing any community feedback, comments, questions that we've received. In the meantime, we have received a few comments just regarding different right-of-ways for some of the alleyways around. I know we just toured around with Robert Spry as well to look at some of the areas. We also did look at the situation just behind here where the leak was dug up. So we have been taking all that feedback into account, and we do log all of these comments, questions.
Did they find a leak there?
I believe
Cause
they
I
did.
never saw anything wet and I was going out there every day.
There was a leak at the time that was fixed, and so that dirt is just left over from when that was fixed, yeah.
But it's still all exposed, like their kids riding their bike.
Yeah, so that doesn't, so we are going to have
Safe
that,
right now.
we are gonna have that put back and backfilled. So yes, that will be taken care of.
Yeah, so that actually is a perfect segue into the emergency response. So for some might not have the background for the way our operations are run with our contract operator. When there is an issue spotted, if there's a loss of pressure, for instance, or a leak spotted, John Bowden is our local contractor that's working with Keeler CSD to come in and address the situation, whether he needs to find a shutoff valve, stop the leak at the point. He'll going to put in a stopgap solution while we contact our operator, Ben Magana, who's based down in Bakersfield. So it takes a couple hours for him to get out here, but it's normally here same day. And that's how we've been having those emergencies addressed.
So Jim Bowden doesn't actually fix the stuff. He just identifies or shuts a valve and then lets Bakersfield know, and they come down and do the fix.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So they'll come out and normally put in the permanent fix.
Okay,
So
then-
John can take care of what he can coordinate and do from here, but if there's extra materials or things that he's not capable of taking care of, that's where Ben needs to bring that. So like if there's a replacement or something and we don't have that material here.
There's a D2, isn't there?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, and so the water system performance, that line break that we had end of last year, that was end of November. Sorry, I didn't unfortunately get the call for that one. I had just taken off on holiday on Sunday, and then of course when it rains it pours. But Tanya and Steve were all reached, as well as Ben and Don from Golden State as well. So everybody was made aware on that Sunday, and we got Ben out here to address the leak. If you have a copy of the slides there, we just have a picture of the valve there that was broken. So Ben did report to the water leak incident. He reported that it seemed to have been caused by service line valve being over torqued. So somebody may have been exercising the valves there and just overdid it, and it led to a line break. That's what Ben seems to think it appeared to be. And so then on that Sunday, he came in and installed a new valve there. And so in that emergency response situation that we were just talking about, Ben would bring in valves, different parts that we need to repull those lines. That's where John doesn't normally have the pieces, and for sitting nearby, he's able to fix those with. And so we did just want to make that really emphasize that the only people that should be working on the water system are people that are contracted to work for the water system, such as John and Ben. Just really want to avoid anybody tampering or taking matters into their own hands with the system, because it opens up a whole number of liability issues as well. If there are to be any effects from that water system, any exposed public health risk as well, anything like that. Just really want to avoid any of that happening. And
Right.
So what you're trying to say then, is we don't have somebody to go around and open the blow off with your sides and lines.
That
The young lady that's been doing it regularly, I haven't seen her around lately.
So exercising the valves and the blow-offs is something that Ben is going to be doing as part of his maintenance plan while he's out here. So that's part of his maintenance schedule. So, that needs to be Ben or someone else that is, for liability needs to be doing that, not someone who is that we don't know about doing it. Because if something does happen, it's better if we know when it's happening and we're prepared in case something does happen from that. And it's not a 3-hour drive when we didn't know it was happening because something broke while that was done. Yes.
What if an unauthorized person persists in working on the system on their own without permission? What can be done to prevent that?
Yeah, and that's something, we would like to address that, early on, so try and get a stop on that from early stages and not have to take any,
Yeah.
further drastic measures. In, a public utility in a larger city or anything like that, that would be recognized as vandalism, and, that would have to be taken into legal matters. We would like to obviously avoid doing anything like that in Keeler, especially, this is a small town, we'd rather not have to have any issues taken care of that way. But if it came to that, if the, system was tampered with and damaged constantly, we'd have to look into legal repercussions for that. That is, of course, something that we would totally want to avoid doing, but that is an avenue that can be taken if push came to shove. Yeah, and so that's why we really just want to reinforce that the only people who should be working on that system are Ben, Sean, anybody who's being contracted by the system. And that insurance, also, we have insurance for Keeler CSD as well as the employees.
John's
that
home
covered.
most of the time. I mean,
Yeah.
he's
Mhm.
self-employed.
Yeah,
He doesn't go and he's not gone all day every day, so.
we have, John's already assisting, going and doing routine
Oh, I've
maintenance
seen him
checks
since I live
during the
with
week. Yeah, he takes about an hour a day.
And he's my friend.
Goes and checks out the system, checks chlorine residual, etc.
Mhm.
Checks the well production. So John's already on top
Yeah.
of things, so we just ask that that stays in-house.
And to piggyback on that, so if you are aware of someone tampering with the system or doing something that they shouldn't be on the system, reporting that is helpful because we don't know it's necessarily happening unless it's reported. And if it's persistent, having it reported helps us with next steps if that does have to happen. So reporting it to the 1-800 number or to Provost and Pritchard will help us out if that's a continued problem.
So don't touch the system. Let the experts do it.
Yes, report,
That is the big message. Good.
report a problem.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Yes.
That's why we have you guys, is to take over and get this stuff cleared up.
But things happen in the
We didn't, it's
system,
needed.
but plumbers have, it's always been that way. Plumbers have to do it. You're not supposed to go out there and start wrenching,
Yes.
Contact number.
Yeah,
Can give you my card, I'll pass along one of my cards.
it's also on the last 2 slides are the contact info. Oh, you don't have that. Yeah, I will give that to you.
I'll also give you my card for my
Yeah.
direct line as
Or
well.
it says contact
Yeah,
us.
that's those 2 slides are the numbers. I'll get you a copy of it.
If there's a giant leak and it's squirting up, call these guys.
Exactly, yeah. The Golden State, that emergency number, that's the ones we want called as soon as possible if there is physical.
As well as John,
Yeah, John is the one, so that's definitely
John Down,
the
yeah.
best number to reach somebody immediately. Just moving on with, did anybody else have any other questions just regarding the leak, any of our response to those? Otherwise, we keep moving with water system performance. So I know this is a hot topic as well with chlorination. I know in the past, Keeler has, from my understanding, has stopped chlorination at the end of the year when it approaches winter time. And so Golden State, our water company consultant, has recommended that we continue chlorination just through the whole year. That's common practice amongst all different water systems.
What are you talking about?
Chlorination in the water system.
You're saying words, but I didn't hear a schedule. Are we gonna have constant chlorination?
Yes. Yeah, so it's maintaining a constant chlorine residual, so
You
small
think that's
percentage.
safe?
Yeah, it's absolutely safe.
Do we
It's-
get the vote on that, like the board, or
We
well,
know.
some
no,
people-
no,
Drink the water anyway, so what's the difference?
No, and if people do have an overwhelming issue with it, that's something we definitely want to take into account. This is just going common practice off of many other water systems, a majority of them throughout the state. This is
Oh, I
common
know, I
practice,
kinda-
yeah, to have just
Yeah.
a very, very
Is-
residual.
is that within one filter, or you're gonna chlorinate it at the big?
It's chlorinated at the well
At the
site,
big thing?
yeah, but then John
That's-
checks,
That-
Get it, see it.
yeah,
And also positive coliform
yeah.
in the winter.
Has there been any positive?
There was one September last year, was it? August?
Well, it's still hot.
Yeah, it was, and that was a strange situation where we did get a positive hit, but then the rest of the samples the following weeks came back negative, so it was an odd situation.
Right, none of that stuff has to live in.
There have been a couple hits in the edges of the warmer months, which is why Division of Drinking Water recommended chlorinating all year. So currently that's what we're following.
Yeah, thank you, Tanya. This is Dawn. Yeah, the state Division of Drinking Water did recommend continuous chlorination. Where the level that's being maintained is not terribly high, but it's enough to keep coliforms from growing and the pipes to stay cleaner. I know folks aren't drinking the water per se right now, but at some point, the chlorine is still important to maintaining, you know, a distribution system. So very, very rare that systems don't. And so I hope folks are getting used to having a small amount of chlorine added to the water.
So I believe it's, John monitors it daily as well, so there,
I think they purged the line or something, they added going to the tank or something and high, and I can smell it coming out of my house, worried about my garden. Plants were.
There's times when it has smelled,
you can actually smell. Yeah,
nothing like LA or Orange County, so. it's-
Yeah.
I lived in Richmond and I watered it all the time, and they had full-time chlorination, probably a lot higher. I never had any problems. So you'd have to have some very sensitive plants to have a problem, I think.
Well, our soil was
When they
different
purged it
too.
and they added to the tank, where they purge it out or whatever, and get the levels up a little bit if they have a problem.
Hmm.
And then it goes back to the normal levels, but sometimes.
it might have been at the time of the hit, yeah.
Yes,
we find out the lines.
it's higher.
Yeah, get your numbers. Real basic.
I'm all for chlorination. I think it's great. I don't wanna be getting something from the water, so I'm for it.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's I'm continuing chlorination, and the residual right now is sitting at around 0.8, 0.9 per million, so it's a very, very small amount. It's not,
So it's within the chlorination range, but it's at the lower end. So there's a range that you can chlorinate to be within the requirements, and we're keeping at the lower end of it.
Correct.
all right, perfect. Well, we keep moving to projects and planning updates. So as everybody would be aware, the CAP 2 grant has now been wrapped up. So we've submitted all final paperwork, all invoices, everything has been taken care of. So thanks so much to John and his crew. Take care of all the construction, hard labor out there. The site looks great. Drove past again. It
Is
looks
that
like
big
it's,
whole field?
and this one over here, that's not part of the CAP 2 grant.
Oh. Interesting.
Oh, no, so this is for all the work over at the tank site, or sorry, at the well site. And then where all the solar panels and fencing is.
Are you doing the slideshow? Or is
I
that?
don't think so. I think it was Brianna or Stephanie.
Yeah, I thought it turned out well.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that was the only update I had there. We have final pictures, report all submitted to Great Basin, so everything is wrapped up.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. They came in at budget or right under budget?
It came
really
in
close?
just in under budget, so yeah, no, it was a fantastic job, really well run by John. Yeah, I don't know if anybody had any comments or feedback on the project, but to me, it seemed like it went really well. It was unfortunate in the beginning that some of the budget was with Caltrans requirements and, you know, working out some of their issues in the beginning, but it all came through in the end. We were able to get both sites completed as well, so.
I have a question on,
Can you speak up just so the people online can hear?
That's all right, I can repeat it.
the CAP 2 grant included. Spreading dolomite here on the district property, is that correct? Did the grant include a survey of the district property?
It didn't, no. Yeah. We didn't think about that at the time.
That borders your property, right? Or close?
No.
No?
No, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Why?
that's weird.
Why?
You know where your
Yeah.
property lines are.
That property changed hands.
It's
Pa-
very, the
papers
property lines are very strange over
Were
there.
submitted to the county and accepted.
Mhm. So,
Well, the reason. To know where the property lines are. Would be that in the future. If KCSD could ever have its own facility. It would be nice to know how to position it on the property.
Good point.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, no, I didn't see any of that included in the CAP 2 grant, unfortunately.
It should have been surveyed by Mr. Watson in the past.
Hmm.
But I don't know where, that would be at the county.
I think I found some stakes over there. I found some property lines when I was working over there.
So we do, we do anticipate that surveying the property lines will be part of TA grant work when they put in new pipelines. So that would be part of that work,
Okay.
because it will have to be done anyways to install those pipelines.
what is TA?
Technical
Okay.
assistant, so it's design work,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay, thank you,
sorry,
No.
that's a term we use.
sure. Okay, wow, so that is gonna be part of the grant?
It would be it's a separate grant from the administrator project, but it is part of work that's anticipated to be done. Yes,
Did I hear new water lines mentioned?
yes,
So that's part of, there may be new
Yes.
water lines, yeah, they
As-
installed as
Is
part of
this-
the
is this-
long
Is
term,
this the mains?
yeah.
yes,
Okay.
to replace them because of the condition. They're near their lifespan.
Gee,
Yeah, they were
looked like
put
pretty
in,
dynamite plastic when I saw them going in.
yeah. Well,
When
these
you say
lines date back
long-term-
to 1982,
Long-term, a year. if it's
83.
months.
For the,
84.
for the technical assistance funding,
84 real.
You know,
to be frank,
So they're-
they
they've
at
been there.
least 2 to 3 years before all the funding is submitted, getting reviewed and hopefully approved by the state. It just depends, it's for getting the engineering designs all completed, it takes quite a bit of time, but then also once it's submitted to the state, they have to go through their review and then approval of the funding. Then it goes out to bid for construction and then we actually break ground on the project.
would you mind including some more fire blow offs?
Yeah, absolutely. That'll all be taken into account, hydrants, blow offs, et cetera. Yeah. That'll all be considered in the TA, in the technical assistance.
Right now, we
design.
don't have nearly enough.
Yeah, no.
You
believe
mean,
it.
more blow-ups or more fire hydrants? Or-
You call them what you want. They're blow offs with a fire hose connection on them.
Okay.
Or both, there you go. And so with just moving to the bottled water program with RCAC, just want to check how that's all running. Was the notice able to get out a bit earlier this time? Was everybody aware of the bottled water delivery
Actually, I,
most recently?
yeah. I
I
think
missed
because
it
it was
last
one, yeah. You were one person that told me that you missed it, and then I think, there was,
And Randy missed it too, didn't he?
yeah. And so posting it at the post office is one thing, but I mean, like Bailey gets email,
Mhm.
so.
We all
just
go
did
to
the
the
email.
post office, see postings there. I certainly wish that their helper wouldn't keep pulling things down.
Yes, I'm not sure what we're gonna do, if we can't post at the post office, the bottled water, cause. People do count on seeing it there.
Could you put something temporarily on the railroad property?
We.
Oh, like a bulletin board?
No, just right across from the post office. I mean, they're not gonna say anything.
What do you mean, put something like a
Just,
flyer or like?
Just some kind of temporary stand, like a, you know,
Why
like a
not,
Caltrans thing that.
why
you
not in
could
front
put-
of our community building?
Which one?
The one you're sitting in here, this is our community
You know,
building.
it does, and there's a nice bulletin board. Not everybody comes by the fire department.
Yeah,
If we put a bulletin board on the front door that never gets opened. I haven't seen that door opened in 40 years.
oh, that's bullshit, cause I open that door out there all the time and I've been posting things all the time, update. I haven't done it in the last month, but I've been putting things in that bulletin board up there.
I'll take the.
But when you're
And that's so does
the
John.
bulletin board.
You just don't look,
I don't know what she's.
with your glasses.
Talking about a bulletin board.
Just right by the fire.
Yeah,
Here,
Yeah.
it's right out here, by where the fire truck is.
I think
And there's the, all the notices on there. It's holiday right now, because we've been out of the country and somebody else took over the fire station.
yeah. Every time I go outside, it's full of, it's in the dark.
open apartment leases that property from the landowner. And somebody rips our notices off the bulletin board.
Hmm.
And it drives the postmaster and Lone Pine crazy. But,
Yeah, I believe it.
but what do we do? I don't know, I've seen the notice on the bulletin board at the post office.
Hmm.
It works for me. Unless it is torn off, I'm not sure.
You put one up there. And I'll check on how many hours it's up.
Yeah, the wind tears them off too. From the post
Um,
office one.
But you know what, I think that maybe that's a good idea is because, we actually got notice that no one's gonna be able to post anything. That,
That's true.
the owner of
Mhm.
the post office property said that she's liable for anything that goes up
Oh,
there.
that's a lot of nonsense. I've talked to Jeff, the postmaster in Lone Pine.
They have one right in the lobby.
Yeah, so we will, so we'll find out more, but
There's also at the post office, a lock box where notices can be posted.
Mhm.
The post person has the key for that,
Yeah,
and that sometimes is used for obvious reasons, so.
Okay, well, we'll double check on the situation of the post office, because that does sound like the most convenient, easiest way if everybody's already going,
Yeah.
getting all their mail. That makes
Other
sense.
than the posting, it seems to be
Yeah.
good.
Exactly that way. Exactly, no.
no,
all-
but we have been able to post there. It has been working.
Okay, well, we can discuss that.
Yeah.
See. And-
the only thing, when I worked there, that I wouldn't go up is something that was derogatory against someone in town or some
Yeah.
obvious thing like
So
that.
there's a whole new development at the post office now, trust me.
Mhm.
Okay, but we'll work on the posting. The other update with the bottled water, RCAC has requested just an increase in their budget. That budget was already set aside in their work plan, but that's just because they want to continue delivering bottled water for longer. So and just keep that program going. So it's
Yeah.
very good news.
Yeah, that is very good news.
I appreciate that, Laura.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm glad it's working pretty smoothly. And if there's any comments or questions, we need to work better on getting notices out. I mean, that's obviously one part that we're working on, but otherwise RCAC have great stuff. So hopefully it's
Who's
all-
delivering the water?
RCAC, so it's a rural community assistance.
Putting it up to connect to the houses with the water.
Yeah, a few of their staff check in each time with residents who have previously asked for water to be delivered to their house. Otherwise, they just set it up at the storage unit over there.
Is there, we provide our emails over here to everyone.
Yeah.
Can they send out emails to everyone saying there's gonna be a bottle of water?
Yeah, absolutely.
delivered?
So yeah, that is something that we're wanting to do is send that to people who've opted in to be contacted, but we can only do that to people who have okayed us emailing them. So,
And RCAC was also keeping a list of email
Yeah.
addresses, so I don't know if,
I mean, we don't need it, but that's just my
Yeah.
question.
Yes,
Yeah. So, and then it is also posted, the notice is posted to the website beforehand every time, but that's a hard one to know if there's a notification. that you
Yeah,
Put up once you're
exactly.
checking the website. And then otherwise, the RCAC staff did ask, we did have previous discussion about bringing out a porta potty for them just to be able to have a bathroom out here set up, but worked with Karen. She said that we were able to give them access to the firehouse to just use the bathroom, if that's all right.
that's what, Robert had said, but I also, they decided not to, cause, we all. Also, we're gonna vote on whether that was okay.
Yeah, so if they were able to access this bathroom, that'd be no problem. They wouldn't bother with the porta potty, but if there's an issue with that, with getting access, we can still move forward with that if
As
the
long
board
as it's
approves.
not the people, because if that was the case, that would be a real problem.
It's one, maybe two staff. Yeah,
Yeah,
The staff members, our CAC.
it's one or maybe two of
yeah,
them
that's fine, that's
once
no
a
problem.
month. if
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
Every 2 or 3
every
weeks.
2
yeah.
weeks, right?
Yeah,
Or twice a
it
month?
depends. They slowed down a bit over the holidays, but no, yeah.
I think
not
they
every
had
2 or 3 weeks.
one in December, but
Yeah.
otherwise it's been two,
Mhm.
2 times a month.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the porta potty wouldn't work real well with the wind.
well, that was our
Yeah.
concern, wind and then snow. and
You'd have
anything.
to
Each time,
Yeah,
would they bring it out?
If
each
they'd
time,
have
or is
to-
that-
no, they would
Limited
set it out here,
access.
Yeah.
just leave it out here and then keep it lock and key for it, but.
We got
You
no
know.
problems with like. picking porta potty.
That's why we wanted to ask the board. We wanted to make sure,
Yeah, we've
Yeah,
had to
you're
use
right.
them at the visitor center when we had water break, main break, it's a real pain in the neck.
Yeah, and issue. Okay, well, if they're able to have access to this one, that'd be great. They just wanted to avoid having to ask any residents to run into their homes. Unfortunately, there's not a bunch of places nearby where they can run to, so.
Just one quick question, and I'm not part of this anymore, so it really doesn't matter to me, it will matter to Gavin or whoever is taking over, but. Could somebody check at the end to make sure everything's okay with the bathroom and it's, the flush isn't left
Mhm.
on, the lights aren't left on, you know?
Yeah.
That it's in decent condition, I mean,
Mhm.
that's all I would ask.
And that's
Yeah,
for
sure.
when they give away the water.
Yeah, that's just when they come out for bottled
Yeah.
water.
Yeah, they've
Yeah,
been
I think we should have someone that wants to volunteer, even if it's once a week, okay. The checks that at the end. I've wondered that. I walked over here going, well, everyone's gone. They sure left. I pick up 20 pieces of trash, cigarette butts. Just because I live next door, but I didn't think of this being locked or unlocked.
Yeah,
Wouldn't it be somewhat the responsibility of the organizations that have meetings in here to double check the bathroom and turn out the lights and blow the candles out before they
Yeah.
lock the door?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
well, they've been doing it on, Thursday, I've been at work, so it's not something that I can come and check.
I'm talking about the
RCAC.
groups
Yeah.
that are in here, not you personally, dear.
Mhm.
Like this is
No,
our
I
group,
know,
so
but
someone
it does seem like
said,
we,
"Okay,
we, also, if we have a local person.
yeah, we'll make sure,
Don't take responsibility for jerks. You have to tell the people in your group, the last one out blows out the lights and flushes the toilet.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we'll make sure our CAC has one point of contact here that whoever has a key that's gonna let them in and out, they're working with them and making sure. They're just.
Which we just
Yeah, that'll
got.
be-
so we have that.
Okay, cause I was gonna say maybe Jeannie or Gavin, I mean, Gavin's at work, but Jeannie's at home.
Okay.
Yeah. We just got both of their,
Yeah,
Okay,
we just got their.
Yeah.
contact
Okay, great.
information, so. Yeah, that's all on the bottled water, and then, yeah, we touched a little bit on the technical assistance, so. Long story short, basically, Probus and Pritchard is an engineering zoncy firm, but we are not allowed by the state to perform the long-term engineering designs, plans and specs, et cetera, because of a conflict of interest, since we are the administrator for KCSD. They wouldn't want to see us, giving ourselves more work or anything like
Yeah.
that. So it's
Okay.
for checks and balances. They have another engineering firm doing the designs for the long-term improvements. So that's replacement of any of the water lines, potential new source, meters, et cetera. So all does. And they have just now started hosting a monthly meeting as well. So we jump onto that one. It's just, I think it's the first or second Monday of the month. And so I sit in on that call and just listen to any updates that they have, and then I'll be relaying that to you as well. So with the holidays, they just had their first one, so right now they're just gathering up information from us about the system. Beginning their.
Do you have questions on that?
Yeah, yeah, I thought Provost and Pritchard was doing the long-term plan and then turning it over to another engineering firm.
No, so we are working with another firm to do the engineer, or to do the long-term plan. So we are just in charge of administering the system, and so we can't do the design work.
So Steve is working very closely with them on those designs. For all purposes, we could do the designs, it's just for the checks and balances of the state.
It's
a
They want
Dickman.
us to- Sorry,
Steve Spencer.
Goodman?
no, Steve Spencer, he's one of our directors and lead engineers.
So we are working with that engineer to do the plan, so we're giving input on what is gonna be included, and but the state with this program decided that they don't want the same firm that's administering the program to do the actual design work and plan.
Yeah, it's a little few extra layers
Yeah.
there, but we work. Long story short, we work closely with them to ensure those plans are made in accordance with all the plans that we foresee for Keeler as well. So we're working closely on it. The main update there is just that we will be working with them on that engineering report, and I'll keep you updated as that progresses.
And we will be
What
getting
what
community
type of
input
input is
on
it?
what that plan is, so it won't be decided without community input on what that system's going to look like.
Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry.
How are you coordinating input with the community here to make sure that your plans
Mhm.
fill our needs?
Yeah, absolutely. So as they move forward with those plans and start coming up with their alternatives, I'll discuss those at community meetings like this.
Cause I
And then
don't
we'll
think
get the same
anybody
feedback.
wants another mess crammed up their left ear.
So
Agreed.
part of it is what the information and feedback we got initially when the administrative program started, got a lot of community information and feedback. But then also as this process goes on, we'll be bringing the options and discussions to these community
A
meetings.
lot of that information got lost in the
Transfer,
from this organization to your organization. And it seems to be getting straightened out now.
Mhm.
There's still a few laughable things left. For instance, you guys have got me living in a vacant lot.
Mhm.
And the sheriff pointed that out to me.
I'm not sure about that one.
Well, some people have government clearance to deal with.
Hmm.
And when you put me in the wrong place, that throws a big red flag up in front of people.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I'm not too sure on.
And if I
It's
can-
it's a minor problem. I'm
Um,
trying to deal with it. I've been trying to deal with your office now for several months with this.
Hmm.
And I just recently sent a bill back with some notes on it, so.
Hmm.
Hey, this is a vacant lot,
Okay,
but,
okay, and which address was that?
they've got me at 242 Laws Avenue,
242.
and it's really 242 Railroad Avenue. And I own several properties, and they just grabbed the first one on the list.
Yeah, and that's something we're gonna discuss with Karen, because we have had some issues with the APN numbers, the parcel numbers, and who those are registered to, and the information we've been given, the county has come up as some older landowners, I think.
It's surprising sometimes how, when you're dealing with government agencies, how an incorrectly dotted I can cause an awful lot of frustration.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know there's a lot of records to sort through there.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I can help. I mean, yeah, and I can work with Tanya, and if we have the correct information, we can make sure that it's very easy for us to correct them in our records. I just need to understand exactly what the issue is. So maybe offline,
Yeah.
Tanya, this might be what you called me about earlier, or, but we can definitely make any corrections that are needed. If any mistakes or anything is not exactly right, let us know. We will fix it.
yeah, so make sure I get
Okay,
your,
I've had several phone contacts with your office to no avail. And I just recently sent my bill in with with notes on it for them to correct it, and I'm hoping that that'll take care of it. In fact, it should be hitting their office here real quick.
Okay, well, perfect. Well, we can also.
So
Yeah,
make
if
sure,
you get the contact information, Tanya, I can check with our group and and pull that up and get that information. So yeah, we'll take care of it.
Well, we are.
Thanks, Don.
so before you leave, make sure I get your name and your contact info, okay? Thank you.
Perfect. So that's a bit of background on the TA, technical assistance side of things, just some general project updates as well that we're working on now that CAP 2 grant is entirely wrapped. We really want to get on top of the pump control wiring between the well site and the tank. So we did receive a quote previously for the replacement of that entire wiring. It's quite expensive and more than we like. So
The only thing to do.
yeah. So in the past, we've heard that the radio transceivers haven't worked at all. It's interference.
Because the power lines run parallel to it, so no matter what you do, you get the harmony just.
Yeah, just
That's
cuts
it,
everything out.
toast.
Okay. Yeah, so that's the other piece that we're working on right now to see if there's another system we might be able to test.
For sure.
Bring out and test that would be cheaper to install rather than having to trench and do entirely new wiring, but. Otherwise, if there is nothing else, then we'll likely have to move forward with that wiring replacement.
Yeah, things like that don't work very well
know
in
you said
general
that
in this
before, yeah.
environment, yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one. So we are working on that. So that's gonna be one of our top priorities now. And also in terms of emergency generator. No, there's a lot of emergency generator funding at the moment that's come out. I spoke with his colleague at RCAC and they just said that they have a lot of availability for generator programs. So we wanted to see as well if KCSD is able to apply for one of those.
You know, we did apply for one
Remember you
about,
saying that,
yeah,
gotcha.
I guess it was right before,
Yeah.
we
Mhm.
turned over, you know,
So they
and we
did-
got denied.
Yeah, so they did open up a second round of it.
Oh,
So
okay.
the way this day works, sometimes they just open up new rounds of funding. So this one has apparently got a lot more funding available, so we'll follow up
Okay.
and see if that's.
So you want us to go ahead and reapply?
Yeah, we can help reapply with that one. That'd be
Okay,
great. So we might grab the previous application that you have on that as well. We're not
Okay.
Reinventing the wheel. That'd be helpful.
Legally speaking,
Mhm.
I know this is probably what you want to talk about, but legally speaking, who's gonna be responsible for this generator? Is that gonna be deeded to you or this gentleman or?
The generator would be Keeler Community Service District's property. It'd be Keeler's
KCSD, yeah.
generator, yes.
Your community
Yes.
service?
And the operator would take care of that.
Yes, they would be responsible for upkeep of it, but it would be Keeler's generator.
Yeah. that
So
would be
then,
entirely-
so that puts us then responsible for the maintenance and upkeep and the insurance.
Yes, yes, for the generator.
Yeah, correct.
in the grant, formerly, there was a portion where they could actually have someone come out and maintain it.
Did they have like they might have had a couple of years maintenance
Okay.
included on that, yeah, they do. That is
Um,
pretty common in some of it.
so typically there would be a maintenance contract with the generator supplier that would have maintenance plan for it. But it would be Keeler's generator.
That's what the generator's for.
It's just in case of a blackout with the system, just as backup power for the water system. It's
It
just,
seems in my history, which isn't that long, that there's been no conditions under which the power has gone out and hasn't been restored in 2 days.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it would take, I would imagine, when the power goes out, in order to connect up correctly, make sure the pump's running in the right direction,
Mhm.
and an ordered amount of time just to actually connect for that short period of time.
Yeah, no, that's understood, and unfortunately, the state is bringing in new requirements, I think it's 2032.
Oh, really?
And then they want to have everybody to have backup supply, power supply redundancy as well, so it's gonna be a requirement. to have
And
emergency-
this size system meets those requirements.
And our federal government is wanting us to go completely on electric. So I hope that the electric generators are powered by batteries.
They have some of their green requirements for sure in California and always will.
No, I'm talking federal.
Yeah, well, we'll see what their requirements they have. But we'll at least be hopefully working towards getting one of those, the system. That'd be nice to
It'd be nice.
pursue it under that funding, yeah.
So I'll get the other application.
That'd be great, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right, moving on to water rates and billing.
Oh, good. That's
Yeah,
what I
the fun
want.
stuff. Yeah, exactly. So in terms of delinquent accounts, it's kind of similar discussion that we've had in the past. The way that we've been handling delinquent accounts is, we try and follow up with landowners and customers to get those accounts settled. In the case that we're not able to eventually, those do get filed onto their tax roll with Inyo County, and then that will be just taken care of by the county to their account with their taxes. They have a process that they take care of those delinquent accounts with. That's just been Inyo County's method of taking care of it, and it seems like that's been Keeler's in the past as well. So
Yeah,
just been maintaining that.
when they went to that system, it was so that we didn't have to turn people's water off.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it just went onto the tax rolls.
Mhm.
Yeah, but how often have you sent letters out? Do you know about to delinquent accounts?
For notices of delinquent accounts.
Yeah, because I just had 2 people contact me in the last month and they seemed that surprised
Mm.
and not happy about the tone of the letter, I
Mhm.
guess I would say.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oops.
And John. Sorry.
I can answer that if you. This is
Oh,
Steve.
1 second, Steve. Sorry, we
Yeah.
just had a question.
Did you have a question for me or?
Dawn, we
I'm
have
not
a,
sure I'm hearing everything. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. We have a question just in the, through here in the phone.
Referring delinquent accounts, account. Prior to that. Board members would have to go to people's homes, individual homes, bang on the door and ask them
Yeah,
if and when they're gonna pay their water bill.
sure.
And it really wasn't part of the job description of being a board member.
Mm.
Or, and like, as Karen said, not to turn the water off.
Absolutely.
But I think there was anyway, a process where a person could get on a payment plan. Which if they abided by, it would work. If they didn't, it would be then referred to the county.
Dawn, do we have a system of payment plans set up that we're able to enact for customers?
I believe so. I mean, we have a payment plan structure for the rest of our customer base. And so I think that's absolutely possible. So I can find out what the instructions are, but I believe if you call our office and they pull up your account and see what the arrear is and then make a commitment to, for whatever that payment plan is, typically it's your current bill plus a certain proportion of the back due so that it gets paid off slowly. But yes, that can be done.
And then Dawn, there was also a question about how often are customers notified of their delinquent accounts?
So that's actually a question for me, Hamish, because we're still, when we took over last March, there were several accounts that were delinquent. So this delinquent from before we took over, so this wouldn't go into the bills that Golden State has because they had to start fresh. So in June, we sent letters out to about a dozen delinquent accounts. And I think about half of those letters got returned as undeliverable for whatever reason. And we had some of those accounts either paid or they were sent to the county and the county added them to the tax rolls. For the other accounts, now that we've been working to try to identify the actual mailing addresses or the folks who still owe money. This is money from before March of 2023, so almost a year. Most of these bills are a year or more old. So we sent out letters again, after updating some of our mailing addresses. We sent out letters again, and that's what you're referring to. These are basically letters to the people that had delinquent accounts from before March of 2023. So trying to get out in front of that, because we'd like to be able to close those out before we have to go to the tax rolls beginning in June and July. So those letters were, they also included a summary of how much was owed after March of 2023, just so that folks would know the difference, because there are two different amounts we're basically chasing at this point. So I apologize if there was a tone that was not appreciated, but we are talking about money that's owed to Keeler that's over 12 months due. And we'd like to, because the system has expenses, we'd like to recover that money, and we would like to work with people to help do that. And we're certainly willing to set up any kind of payment plan that could make that happen. So if you know anyone who received that invoice that wants to talk, let's set something up, and you're more than welcome to reach out to us. But that's what that is. It's basically trying to get preemptively, find out who is, to make sure we have addresses correct, so that we can begin the process of recovering that money, that old past due money.
My neighbor said, I'm Elaine Todd. He said he paid $400 on mine, and I was in Guatemala, that I didn't turn my water off or something, but I hope that, I don't know, I never got a receipt, but that's what he told me within the last week or two. Steve said that he put on $400 on my bill. So I hope he did.
So we'll check with, we'll also, once we go through this, we'll coordinate with Golden State to make sure, just because, for instance, I know one person who paid thinking they were paying the old bill, but they paid Golden State, and so it credited to the current bill, so they have a credit. So we still want to clear up those old bills. So it's unfortunately, it's a little confusing. We're trying to make it as clear as possible, but if you did receive a past due notice that we just sent out, any payment should be, you can go ahead and give those to Karen Riggs there, and we'll get those from her, as opposed to sending them to Golden State, because it's a different system for these really old bills.
But I'm just sending those on to the county like any other money that comes in, right? It just goes.
Yeah, as long as just let us know who sent it to you, and then so we can clear the records.
Right.
We can credit it to the correct account.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, great. That was it. If there's any questions, of course I can answer, but I just wanted to make sure, because Golden State is, they're handling their side of the thing, but for these really old accounts, we're still trying to resolve that.
I'm hearing total confusion here. It sounds to me like when we turned our responsibility for our water department and accounting over to somebody, sounds to me like we got two clowns involved in this. Now, who the heck is in charge? Now, you're saying Golden State, but I have a piece of paper in my hand right here that this nice young man just gave me. Provost and Pritchard Consulting Group, and down at the bottom it says Golden State Water Company. Now, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, so Golden State Water Company is a subcontractor to Purvis and Pritchard Engineering. So we are administrative.
Gentlemen.
This is Steve Spencer. Sorry, he's an engineer with Purvis and Pritchard with us. Yeah.
You're stick a poor engineer with accounting. That's bad.
No, yeah, it's Steve just loves accounting that much.
Okay, so that helps. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Yeah, so Golden State is a subcontractor for Purvis and Pritchard. They manage all the billing and customer accounts for us, because they're a larger water company. They are set up to manage accounts. We're an engineering firm. We don't manage customer accounts or have billing to anybody in that sense. So we had to subcontract somebody who has a system already set up. Yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces, but
Experience with operating the system.
Thank you.
So jumping into some more fun on the rate study here. So we have been working with an accountant to conduct a rate study, basically to see what the true rate would need to be to maintain Keeler as is. That's without any grant funding taken into account, helping subsidize all the costs and operation and maintenance of Keeler. So this is just a very rough estimate at the moment. We wanted to fully present our rate study, but there's still some categories of different customers that we want to work out. We have a few there, such as occasional use in uninhabited parcel with the water connection turned off. But then we have an undeveloped land without a water connection. So there's just some categories there that Keeler uses at the moment that are a bit unclear how those were established and where that pricing came from. So we still want to work through some of those and just simplify out the categories in our rate study. Would be, a basic residential connection with your meter size, and that would be the flat fee at the moment. Well, there are no meters at the moment, but once that was in, and once that gets put in, it would be a metered rate. For now, it is just going to be calculated as a flat rate.
Did you say metered rate?
Mhm, a metered rate. We don't have.
Paying
meters
for
at
the
moment.
meters, young man. Are you coming to put them in?
So that will most likely be required with the TA work and the system improvements. Most likely a meter will be required.
When the
There-
new system's put in?
Yes,
But
so that will
would
be part of that work and paid with that grant funding.
Okay.
So that would be paid for by
Yeah.
the state of California.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. Don't tell me
That would be
something.
great. But it was, so the current rate that we were looking at just from these rough estimates was about $130 a month. So it's a significant increase, and I'm not, to be very clear, we are not installing that rate at all. This is just looking at estimates of what it costs and to create,
Yeah,
put in a rate
you
that
can't
actually
do that.
creates reserves and everything, yeah. And so we have a few comparisons to nearby systems as well. I mean, Lone Pine Independence is at about 70, roughly 78, 77, 96 is their rate at the moment. Indian Creek is about 74.
Just to be clear, that price, the 135 is without treatment. So adding on the arsenic treatment, arsenic treatment would increase that cost in addition to the $135 per month.
But the $135 a month is not a flat fee, is it? It would, when we get the meters, it would vary.
Yeah, so
So when
Meters are years away.
Yeah, that's true.
when you do get meters, you would change to a fee structure that would be based off of your usage rate.
Yeah.
So the more you use, the more you would pay.
But
So if it's
meanwhile,
off,
You
No
pay
money
less.
back.
There's typically a base fee just for
Mhm.
connection service, and then it's usage.
when do you think you might change to a new water rate?
So we wouldn't, there's an entire process that we'd have to go through to bring in any rate. We have to abide by Proposition 218. So we have to do a public hearing, demonstrate, that we are, if we are proposing this rate, that it is strictly
Yeah,
adhering to the cost of operating the system.
so
So
we're
it's
looking
not
at
to
quite
make
a while.
profit.
Yes,
6 months, a year,
We are currently not even looking at putting in this new rate yet,
okay,
because we want to properly calculate what it would need to be with treatment as well. So
this
So
is
it
just
sounds like a guesstimate.
it's an estimate. We're working on it for sure. It's just being tricky with some of the rate categories and seeing how we can consolidate some of those from being
Now-
some of these.
I'm
Yeah,
used,
yes.
I'm used to buying water like everyone else is now, since I don't have a well. But I'm used to paying for potable water,
Mhm.
and I can't even water my flowers with the water here because it kills the darn things. And I know that there has to be water to shower, and there has to be water to, what else do you do with water?
Flush the toilet.
You wash your dishes and you take a shower. That's the only thing we do with our water here. The rest of it's stuff, everything else is drinking water we have to truck in, or you guys provide for us. I'm kind of confused about why all of this is so expensive, because I'm getting water I really can't use.
Yeah, absolutely. It's tough, and the costs really come from having a contract operator coming and actually completing sampling. It's paying the labs. It's maintaining any piping, any emergency response. It's just all the pieces that come with operating a water system.
No matter what you do physically to the water system, which is good.
Mm.
Well, I love you guys for helping with it, but I say love, at any rate.
We'll take it.
But at any rate, no matter what you do physically to the system, it's a chemical problem.
Yeah.
And
so that's why we will also have a rate that shows what it would be with full treatment installed. So then you would have entirely potable water, but it would be taking in those treatment operations costs as well.
So we're still
Yeah,
working on
yeah.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Taking a contract operator. And when I was on the board here, and the county required us to have a contract operator. And quickly found out that to hire a contract operator, taking the samples, so on and so forth, treatment operator. It's unaffordable
Mhm.
for a small district.
Mhm.
But we got, say, 42 people, Darwin's got 36 people.
Mm.
It's unaffordable for the town of Darwin as well, or any small district. So I went to our county supervisor and proposed that the many small districts here in the county, that the county hire a contract operator that would be farmed out to the small districts,
Mhm.
and each district would pay their fair share. And then we would be in compliance with the state requirements. County refused to do that, and so the state took over the regulation of 80 small districts in this county.
Yeah.
And the management of one, that's ours. So it would seem that instead of forcing a small district to pay full scale for a contract operator, it would be best to hire a contract operator to manage the many small districts that can't afford their own operator. That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Makes complete sense. I would absolutely be in support of that. A big issue that they're seeing is just availability of operators as well in some of these remote areas. I mean, Ben's a perfect example. He is one of the contract operators. He works with a lot of small different systems down in Bakersfield, down south, and all the way up here to Big Pine. It's a tough situation having contract operators service such a large area, and that's normally where our costs come from. Hiring somebody that's so far away. If there was somebody more local and the county was willing to do that, we'd absolutely love to bring them on board.
Okay, but the state, and I mean, the state in good conscience can't force these small districts to support a contract operator. It's not affordable for the small district. And in fact, could cause people to lose their properties, lose their homes. And is that the intent of the state? No. But that's the result if they do push this issue with the contract operator.
Yeah, absolutely.
So is it a law you have to have city water? You can't just haul your 5-gallon things of water like living on a ranch, from the campground?
heck, I hauled my water here for years.
If you wanted to haul your own water, you're more than welcome to. Yeah, absolutely.
But you can't turn off your water.
No,
A lot of people
yeah.
still do.
You're still gonna have your
Yeah,
own service.
Still have to pay
connection
the water
in
bill
town.
for the
Yeah, your
piping.
connection in town. Yeah, if you had,
So you can't get disconnected from.
I've never seen that happen
So, cause
before.
if you're,
Yeah.
cause I leave for 6 and 8 months, but
Mm.
usually my water bill's paid, whoever
Mm-hmm.
I'm paying, I'm pretty sure that they paid my water bill when I'm gone.
Mm.
But I don't know for sure.
Mm.
You know.
And that's where it
how
helped
really
having the
works.
meters in, because then if you're not using any water as well. you would
Then you're not
have
gonna be
that now.
paying for all that.
So how much go ahead.
Sorry, no.
A big issue on the rate study
Mhm.
would be the expense.
Yeah.
Of the
Mhm.
contract. operator.
That's why I took a token amount per month while I was operator here.
Mhm.
And why I also did a lot of free time, and I'm still certified. But I don't know if it would be legal. I don't know if you can contract with someone like me for a smaller amount, if I'm willing to do it.
So, you would need to be set up so that we could have a contract with you. That's the,
Yeah, I went through
It would be there,
Sierra.
Yeah, yeah, so
Employment.
she is contracted with Sierra Employment.
but not, so you could do, you could help us with the system, but not be the actual contract operator. I think you need to have some additional, insurance and stuff set up to
Probably,
be, because we'd
There's
be
this over-
contracting
yeah.
with you. You'd have a contract. It's different than the temporary employee because the insurance works different.
No.
yeah,
And we can talk about
Dickman
that.
has his sign out there.
We,
He's a contractor.
I hope I'm
Yeah.
explaining that
Did you
right.
see the sign?
no,
We could talk more about, if you are interested in doing that, what the requirements are.
well, it'd be interesting to know.
Yeah, so just
I'm
on,
right here,
Yeah,
but I'm
absolutely.
working full time. No,
Yeah.
I can, I mean, there's the possibility I
Yeah.
could switch jobs.
and to be clear, we don't pay, like, Ben works on several systems, not just Keeler. So we pay him for
Right.
the work he does, not, we
Salary,
don't pay
right?
him a salary to be on standby to come out to Keeler. We only pay him for what he does. And so for example, when he has to come out for a line break, that's, we'd pay him for his time to come out for that. So, which is why we'd rather have those fixes when he's already coming out and prepared for something happening. That's why that increased costs when stuff like that happens.
Well, and so on this rate study, you're gonna break it down as to what the costs would be going to, I mean, because administration also.
Yeah, we can,
Yeah.
yeah, so we have a entire 5-year budget forecast of all that built in, of all those costs.
Yeah, so that, and this is kind of just the first step on what the cost is. There's not a plan to actually change the rates to this. But we do have to show what the real cost to run the system, to do next steps on funding options.
Right, so I mean, we wanna know what the real costs are.
Mhm.
Also, we wouldn't wanna be taking the most expensive costs
Mhm.
to run the system.
Yeah, and our study will have that all broken down. It'll show how much the contract operator, how much operations and maintenance is
And you
costing
have,
per
you
year.
have to take into account that I can't do anything like that forever,
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is one of the problems with our town right now.
yeah, because we do need to be looking for long-term
Yeah.
solutions.
That's the side of it,
And
where
that's
it's,
the problem.
where it might be able to save.
At the average age of us here in Keeler, it may not be a responsibility for too many more years.
Yeah, I thought you were about my age.
I know I'm younger than you.
There we are. Look at that. All right, did anybody have any other questions on the rate at the moment? That is just a very basic. I just wanted to at least show a number that in the ballpark of what we're looking at, but we do have some things to nail down in those rate categories still. So we'll work on those and we'll have more. Come back to the next meeting of those actually broken down hopefully
Yeah.
into the budget as well.
Okay,
Do you have a rate for people who have water coming to their house, but they don't use it?
Yeah, so that is something that we're gonna address because we have some of these rate categories here. For instance, undeveloped land, but an active water service. So that's what we're curious about. If that's a piece of land that has an active connection coming into it, but are they using it at all?
And how about an inactive?
Inactive? We would.
I have an active connection, but I've never used it.
Yeah.
So they're charging me half or something like that.
Yeah, so normally there will just be a standard flat connection rate. As well as then the metered rate on top of that,
Well,
but.
the reason why I say that is because somebody who is connected but doesn't use any water, obviously hasn't used any electricity.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true.
Unlike everybody else, and so they should, in theory, because they have no load on the system, be cheaper.
Yeah, and that is the
Yeah,
Reside
you
in the
want to
flat
keep
rate.
their record, and that's what you're charging them for, is for keeping the record that they're there, that in this place, and they could, if they wanted to, change the situation, so they're paying for having the record in the system so that they can modify it.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's the trouble with not having any meters at the moment. It's
Yeah.
impossible for us to tell who is using water, how much, which connections are actively being used versus those that sit for each 10 months a year.
This place is operated for a lot of years, with the community control and flat
Yeah.
rate. I think the flat rate when I come in was a fantastic $15 per hookup.
It started at 5.
Right.
There you go. 5.
Yeah, it
So we're
went,
looking forward to going to the older rates.
I would like that too. It'd be nice if my
Yeah.
house starts doing that.
it's been a community district basically since 1980.
Yeah, and all the years that I've been involved in Keeler, it's got along. I mean, it's had its ups and downs and hiccups and whatnot, but
Yeah.
it's worked. We've had water and there's been no blood spilled over the operation of it.
Mhm.
Bruises, but no blood.
There was someone from the company before that.
Hmm.
They had inner tube
Yeah.
repairs on pipelines and stuff. You could see the water
gosh.
bubbling.
I can't tell you how many times I was in a hole out here helping fix water lines.
Well, we want to keep on getting better. Keep that trend going. Well, and for the sake of time, we'll keep moving to the financial health side of the system. So it's a little small on the slide there, but we do have the budget balance sheet as of end of last year. So 12/31/2023. So our cash balance this is actually a week after, is sitting at $63,297. So it is a 7.3 increase from the previous quarter. So looking like we are getting plenty of reimbursements in. It also looks like from the water service revenue that we are slightly ahead of schedule, or the budget amount. So this budget was taken a quarter of the way through the fiscal year. And so we look like we have accounted roughly 48% of water service was budgeted.
A quarter or half, because isn't the fiscal year start in July?
So I'm thinking of Ferguson and Pritchard, we do it end of September. So Keeler, this would be 50%. So
Yeah.
then we're straight in line, actually. Sorry, I was thinking we do a strange fiscal year.
Yeah.
Our system, or our company. But so we are pretty much in line then. Yeah, we're at 48% of water service. We're right in line with halfway through the year. It shows our budget and actuals are really quite close with revenue and expenditure in terms of the state grants incoming as well. So we've been getting those reimbursements coming through fairly quickly. So it's really good to see at the moment. Yeah, we've had a steady stream of those state grant revenue. Do you have any other pieces I want to touch on? Yeah, just that we are actually coming under budget then, since we're at about 42% of our revenue and expenditure we budgeted for the year. Our professional and special is coming in at 38%. So that is our operation and maintenance costs. Those are, trending pretty well. We're still under budget, but any of those increases that we have seen in the past few months have been from instances like that line break when Ben has to come out more often. So we are trying to limit the number of times the operator has to come out here as well, just because of travel time costs, trying to keep those down. So yeah, just an emphasis on keeping people that are working and operating the system as the only people who have hands on there. So we're not increasing any of those costs.
So how much the professional and special category, so $194,000 for the year. You say that that's basically for the water operator?
So that would also include. Double check. Yeah.
That includes the bottled water too.
Oh, that includes bottled water.
Bottled water, and I think also what's in there is the CAP 2 grant money is in there as well.
Yeah.
30,000.
Oh, it seems like land improvements down there at 55,000. Is that not CAP 2? That was for budgeted in there.
That was Yeah, that was, sorry, this is Steve Spencer again. It was budgeted there, but talking to Christy Martindale at the county, the coding isn't right. I don't, and we had talked to her about it when we set it up, but she says that is considered, that money, the 55,000 with that code would be considered like durable, improvements that would be, discounted over several years, amortized, for tax purposes. So we have to, so that's not what this is. It's obviously we're fixing cleaning up the area around the well. It's not a permanent installation in that respect. So per Christie, we've categorized it as kind of lumped with everything, all the other professional services.
Okay.
So we're working with her to correct the budget, so the 55,000 gets moved into the right line item.
Uh-huh. Okay. And also it looks like we've got the public liability insurance and the insurance premium in two different categories also. So I'm not.
Yeah,
Sure.
I'm familiar with that too. That was just a coding situation. And and I don't know why there's two that are so close together. That's a county thing. So we'll work with them to get that straightened out.
Yeah, the insurance keeps going up significantly. I mean, for us significantly, yeah. No, okay, good. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, did anybody else have any other questions on the budget? Otherwise, that
Well,
just about.
I just wanted to say too, that 63,000 was about basically what we were running at, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
previously.
mhm,
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're right in line there.
yeah.
I think that just about comes to the end of our agenda here. We will continue listening to these quarterly meetings, you said, so I think our next one will be scheduled for April. So hopefully.
I have a question before you end them.
So,
The meeting, so Provost and Pritchard will turn our system back over to us in the future at some point. And the assumption then would be our board would manage our water system into the future. What if our board, or what if Keeler was not able to sustain the system? What would happen?
yeah, then we would look at potential managerial consolidation options. So if there's another entity such as, you discussed a situation previously where Inyo County might be able to provide managerial oversight for a number of these systems. So here in Darwin, if that's an option in the future, if there's a water company or LADWP is one of the nearby systems, but they haven't been responsive at all to any of our contracts. So there are options that we'd have to explore, potentially have another system managing Keeler.
I was told at a meeting at the well. That one option would be the sale of our system to a private water company.
No, that's not an option that can happen. Your system can't be sold to another.
Golden State told us that at a meeting at the well.
It can't be sold, another entity like Golden State or another company that manages systems can do the management work, but the system can't be sold. So.
Can I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's any discussions with Golden State. I mean, the reason we're participating in this particular program is because this is not a system that is has good synergy with Golden State. We don't have any systems nearby. So we do purchase and run systems that want to be sold and taken over. I mean, that is something we do, but that is not part of the discussion for Keeler. We don't have any currently operating systems nearby. So I don't know why or how you heard that, but that is not a discussion point at this point.
There can be a discussion with other systems, coming in and managerially taking over operations of the system. Those are conversations that we and GHD engineers that we're gonna be having with other entities. And we're already trying to initiate some of those conversations. The county has said that they may be open to the idea of potentially operating the system in the future, but those are just discussions that we'll have to continue. And they would obviously want to see a lot of the system upgraded, just meters installed, everything brought back into compliance.
Right,
as
but
well.
I think what I'm really asking, is it legal to force the sale of our system?
To force the sale?
Can it's legal, but it's not practical. And so nobody I mean, the whole PNP team is looking for a solution that's good for the community and good for all of the parties involved. And that's where, like I said, what Golden State does work with some systems that want to be purchased, and where there's synergies and where there's a partnership that seems good, you know, we're certainly open to that. But in this case, you know, you have to look at all of the factors and what's best for the community. And that's what this process is supposed to look at. So there's nothing, it's not like there's going to be a forced or anything quickly determined, you know, against your will or anything. These are all partnerships that get, you know, worked through. So.
And that's not the current selling this,
Right,
having
exactly.
the plan.
Yeah, exactly. We're here to, Golden State is here to support the community and hopefully help in the process, you know, to a long-term solution.
Part of the long-term solution is possible expansion of the town. There's a lot of property here that people are buying for retirement. It's starting to catch on for that. So there's a possibility, like almost half the town is vacant right now that could be developed.
That's definitely something that I have to be taken into account with any future management there and capacity.
Yeah.
You guys looking for property?
Way Los Angeles looks, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, we get inquiries all the time at the visitor
believe
center
that.
about people coming up and wanting to, hey, we want to live up here.
Believe it, yeah. A great group of people. Okay, well, that wraps everything for agenda. Was there any comments, questions online that need to be addressed?
No, we haven't gotten any.
Well, everybody should see our contact information on the public comment card there. Otherwise, thanks so much everyone for joining us online, and thank you everyone here.
Thank you for your wonderful job.
Absolutely, no, appreciate it.
You're fired. No, just kidding.
Please don't be honest.
No, I might be able to leverage a Chinese conglomerate into buying this. They're looking to buy commercial land and water and all sorts of rights.
We're not commercial most of the place, most of the town side.
Could be,
But it could be converted.
We're sitting on top of a beautiful lake here that could be used.
It's recreational,
for
like,
recreation.
yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Don.
Right, thank you. Good night.
Can we also use your Zoom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you want to keep this going on?
Yes, if that's okay.
Sounds good. So we're shifting over to the Keeler CSD board meeting.
And whose turn is it to run the meeting?
You,
Yeah, should we wrap it up?
Bailey, wanna run on?
What's that?
You wanna run the meeting?
No, not yet. I'll let you guys do
We're on the
it.
I don't have property
Turn the light
numbers with me.
It'll be a short meeting.
Yeah. There's no- covered already.
Yeah.
So who's looking at
It was covered.
Agenda?
Yeah, did you get the agenda?
Here you go. Yeah, absolutely.
Pardon?
Is Gavin coming back to shut the door and the lights and all that, or are you responsible for doing that?
I'll.
Sorry, what was your name?
Doing that. He said he was gonna open it, and I said, you guys have to me. I said, okay, I'm taking care of, so.
She's gonna close it. Okay, we just want to make sure.
All right,
Okay, oh, and there's a heater on over here.
okay,
Not that it works well.
thanks.
Great to see you.
Yeah. Thanks for,
Good to see you.
thanks for opening it up.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Great to see you.
Yeah. Good to see you.
Thanks, Norm. Does anyone need an agenda for the KCSD meeting?
Thank you. So. Yeah.
So we're gonna call the KCSD meeting together.
I need your
And
comments.
it's, I think it's 7:24.
7:24.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys got the letter from Sherry, her resignation. Did you
Yeah, I
get that,
did.
Myrna?
Email them.
It's on the email. So, she took issue with the, it kind of made it personal about me not going to the fire department meeting. And, also made some kind of, well,
It was not pleasant.
it wasn't. So, but I'm not gonna address it, because, can I read it? I don't have it with me right now.
I didn't print it or anything either.
I need to bring my
Yeah,
phone. I
and-
got it on
and-
my phone.
Since it didn't really address water issues, you know, I feel like I should respond, but I also
Are you
just
in the
like to
fire
let it go.
department?
No, I'm not. Mm-mm.
That matters for her.
Well, I think there's a kind of a voting loyalty issue, but I don't put my vote out. For, I'm not up to the blind loyalty question.
Yeah, so what was pertinent is she just said that this email should be accepted as her resignation.
Yeah.
From the water
Yeah.
district board of directors. The fire department stuff was all not really directly related.
So anyway, I haven't contacted the county yet, but I will tomorrow. I have tomorrow. And so that leaves us with 2 openings. instead of
Yeah,
just
so we
one.
need to move to accept her resignation.
Okay, do you want to make? that
I'll
move?
move to
Okay.
accept Sherry's resignation.
No second it.
All in favor then, well,
Aye.
whoever's running.
Oh, yeah.
So Myrna did a motion and then,
I second.
Bailey.
Bailey.
Yeah,
Mhm.
then it's unanimous.
Thanks.
And
Okay,
she's not gonna come back, at least not for a while.
well, I think she had mentioned to me that
Thank
she didn't, you know, she wanted to resign as soon as she could.
It is
Yeah.
confusing.
Confused. You're not days too, are you?
Email and phone number.
Oh my goodness,
It's like,
you're really nailing me down.
so I can tell you if I have a problem or like me wanting those.
She could even call her if she
so-
has a problem.
Do you want us to vote on whether portable bathroom would be acceptable in case they in the future decide to
Sure,
do
that might be
it?
helpful just in case.
I don't know, actually, Myrna,
If you want to, because we can address it if it
if it
becomes an
comes up.
issue.
Let's wait and address it because.
Yeah.
I can see why they might want one, but I can see problems.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So-
if there's an alternative where they can use the one here, then it's a non-problem here.
And so, Tanya said that you got Gavin and Jeannie's
Yeah. we got
contact.
their contact.
Okay,
So
All right.
we'll just ask them if that's okay, we'll share their number with the RCA's and stuff, and they can just reach me.
okay, so we can table that. I think we covered the budget and financial. Did anyone, Jim, did you have anything on the finances?
No, I can't count.
Honestly, I didn't have
Perfect.
time to
Thank
really
you.
look at it.
Cool.
Yeah,
And then,
It- it does seem that we're, you know, pretty much, at least on schedule with the budget.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a little scary to see those numbers, those big numbers.
Money's been transferred.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, yeah, I think we covered that.
So,
And the cap 2 also, that was covered.
This is no shattering, right?
The water.
The water, yeah. Anything on operations from your guys' point of view? Okay, that leak at Elaine's, I know she said she didn't see any water, but that was at her connection on the the system side, and it was a creek. It was a pretty good creek. But
I'm sorry.
that's okay, that's all right, we're just,
Discuss it.
it was a good creek, yeah.
Oh,
There. But with pretty no water coming out, it's completely broken off.
Yeah.
Is that the one that drained the tank?
I don't know how far the tank went down. It was flowing for pretty good, it was all the way down by
I think it was,
Myrna's.
oh, yeah, it flooded across the
yeah.
so-called curve down past Chrysler.
So I am gonna, so have Ben, blah. Ben is going to take care of that the next time he's out, take care of backfilling that and putting it back. He should have done that when he did it before, so I apologize, that shouldn't be left not backfilled.
Well, it was night,
Yeah.
when he was working.
Well, or come back, or it should be done the next, if he has to come
Uh-huh.
back out.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that happened though was that, there was, there's some wood in the alley. And then, when they dug it, they put the dirt on top of the wood, so.
So that's a
now
big
you have
problem.
It's like, about instead of another valve at the end of the alleyway there, that's an AC line, That's the cement pipe, right through there, and there is 2 valves in that, as we had that alley there.
Yeah,
But it gets covered up, one of them gets covered up with the rain, water a lot of times, and I had to take my metal detector, because the cap's metal, and I could take my metal detector and I could find it again.
okay, yeah, because we just found one.
Yeah, there's 2 there.
If we're talking maintenance. I actually forgot to bring up in the. Main meeting, but. There are valves here that don't work.
Yeah.
And there's mainline system valves that don't work. And there are also valves to individual properties that don't work on the main line.
Like on the
Main line,
where it comes right out of the saddle, out of the main line,
The connections.
Yeah.
the court
Yeah.
stop.
Well, a meter box with a valve in it,
Yeah,
bringing it from the town system to the individual property. Valves that don't work, and big valves, where they're about 4 feet
I
down.
got several, I fixed several of those, when I was up, doing the maintenance or whatever, but there was some of them, like, I never did get open or closed, some of them were stuck open.
so exercising those valves is on our maintenance plan, but I don't think Ben's gotten through that, and I'm trying to nail him down on a timeline on getting that done, because it needs to be done. So that is something I'm trying to work with Ben on getting done soon.
Yeah.
So that is something we're trying to work on.
During the fire hydrants as well, or is that up to the fire department to exercise those?
I don't know the answer to that. Let me follow up on
I
that.
think they're part of the
Because
water.
I think it's part of the water system, but
Before, I think it wasn't up to KCSD to exercise those valves, it was the fire department's responsibility, if I remember right. Cause I work for the fire department and the water department.
okay, but I'll check on that if that's something that. Cause we haven't talked about that, so, I will check in if it is something that, we are supposed to be doing, that'll be done at the same time,
So we used to use those to flush the system.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, we exercise the valves and,
There's gonna be a lot of replacement valves.
yeah,
Yeah.
mainly valves.
Yeah. Cause I think there's quite a few stuck open right now.
Yeah, some people that operate the system, sometimes they close them all the way, and you're supposed to back them off a quarter turn or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they kick, cause they're all the way down, all the way closed, wherever, they're open.
Well, that would be good. I mean, we'll look for an update on that.
Yeah,
I mean, okay.
so I'm working with them on getting that done. So, sorry, it's not done yet.
No, I was just kind of wondering how it all works. I know there's a planning process and then the implementing process.
Yeah,
And
so part of it is like. I have a list of things for him to do, but it's like. How much leaving that to him to schedule versus micromanaging him to do it, but it needs to get done.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's what we're working through.
and plus, because there are frozen valves, I don't know if he has one of those. It's like a vibrating, isn't it,
Right.
You
something?
can make them. John was telling me about that, they have a tool that you can hook up to the key and it vibrates. And
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
helps the
I'm sure
valve.
he knows.
helps the valve open.
Yeah,
Yeah, because they're
Scale-
frozen.
This water, there's a lot of
Yeah,
scale
they're
buildup.
very-
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
Some of them valves, they don't get opened or closed for years.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is why it needs to be done regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do think that, we felt like that there was a good response on that big leak. I mean, it took a long time, but
I was
as,
sick, or I would have helped, I was really sick.
oh, I know you
A
were,
couple days there.
you were out. It took a while to get there, but it was well done. And we just finished at night. So Board of Directors reports. Myrna,
Well, everything's been going over.
Bailey, you want to add anything?
No, I'm good. All my questions been answered.
Yeah, I just, gotta figure out how to advertise, water.
And make sure to, for the
Yeah.
water away and.
Yeah, and the meetings, I mean.
Yeah.
We're not really, we're not the ones putting mean things. That's
I didn't even know
hard.
I didn't, wasn't. December till I asked you, right to January then.
Yeah,
So just an issue with other things getting posted up.
December, they traditionally don't have a meeting. But, I don't know. I don't know how traditional it's been 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
It's all the time.
December. Yes, no, so I think that just in December, holidays, they just
Yeah, no,
skip the meeting.
understandable. A lot of meetings canceled as well.
Yeah.
I do have one question because I have a line going into my house that's leaking from my water heater. I haven't had hot water since July.
Oh,
I'm waiting now. I mean, what's the point? But, it's not gonna even try to heal itself until it warms up and starts building up calcium and everything. But, if I hire a plumber or someone, can they turn off my water at the meter without liability problem?
That should be
yeah.
fine.
I think that should be fine.
Maybe just give us a heads up, just. So Ben knows in case something happens,
I've seen some,
or let John know,
I've seen some property owners turn off their own valves.
but the valve coming to your house should be
And
fine.
damage them.
Okay,
I've seen people.
Well,
cause what's happened is it's gotten wet under, it's one of these stupid new water heaters that has a built-in spark.
oh,
You can't light it
Geez,
manually.
I hate those.
Yeah.
I hate it.
mhm.
I wanna bypass it.
Yeah.
but I'm not sure how to do that because it's all inside. So it's just there doing it.
We're losing control
I'm saving
more ways
gas.
than one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that brings us to public comment. Did you want to expound on that? And losing
Oh, I
control.
could write a poem on losing our self-reliance. Yeah, well, as far as the comment goes, I am concerned that these new water rates are unaffordable for people and it could result in people losing their properties, which would gentrify Keeler. But I'm told, was told by Golden State at the meeting at the well, that not to worry, that the low income ratepayers will have their bills paid by the state of California. And but I noticed in a publication last fall that the legislature actually passed a bill to that effect and sent it to the governor's desk. And he vetoed it, saying that there was no funding source for this bill. So in other words, the state of California couldn't afford to pay these bills. So maybe they'd pay partially. Now the state's in debt. I don't know. I don't know.
Right. No, I was at that meeting too. Tanya was too, at the well, and Myrna was too.
Yeah.
And no, you're right. I remember that, being a little bit concerned about that. That
So,
part about, our system being bought.
So the
But I feel like, like Dawn is.
Dawn explained it better than I could.
No, I think that,
we could end up with potable water. But we could end up with a destroyed community.
So. Do you want to answer part of your comment or?
I'm not looking for an answer,
Okay.
it's just a comment.
Yeah, there's definitely, the state does have affordability indexes for how much, they suggest that anybody should be paying on their water rates. I think it's at about 3% of household income. So
Yeah,
it's something that we always aim to try and never have a rate come in that's well exceeding that. Of course, there's accentuating circumstances now, but with this rate, there's no world in which we'd bring in this rate without total community feedback support. Like I said, that Prop 218 hearing methodology that you have to go through, that has to receive a majority, right? It cannot receive a majority opposition. And if it does, then that rate cannot move forward.
Oh.
So that's a part of the
Yeah, I think I
process.
remember
What about-
reading that.
Yeah.
People who are on a fixed income.
Yeah.
Compared to somebody
Yeah.
who's working and making $100,000 a year.
so there, like Hamish said, there's limits, affordability limits on what the rates are allowed to be set. It's based off community. I believe it's based off the community's
Average.
yes, and then a lot of times there's also built into if you are below a certain threshold, there's sometimes.
There's a lot of people out here that are on fixed income.
Yeah, so some systems have where if you're below a threshold, you have either a subsidized rate or something, so that's why the rate study has to be done to show what the cost is, but there's rate limits to what can be charged based off of income level, so it will not be $135 because that's not going to pass that.
One
income threshold.
retired DWP employee can skew the average
Absolutely.
way over the one.
So-
I'm sitting here, retirement, what's retirement? I don't know.
yeah, because it's a pretty small population here.
Absolutely, yeah.
It can be that.
Yeah, so
True.
every person, every household has a huge impact because
Yeah.
there's a small number of households.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's you.
Well, anything else?
Mhm.
I mean, again, one way to keep the cost down was to figure out this, treatment operator, scenario.
Well, that's why the whole POU thing went in, or as an experiment was one of the reasons. To avoid treating more water and then,
Yeah.
You do pilots.
yeah.
We tried, that was a really long program and there was a lot of effort that went into it. But we never did get it certified. Or
Well,
approved by
Not
the
that
state.
system anyway.
They wanted 100% compliance.
Mhm.
And all it takes is one community member, which we have, refusing to comply. So, I think the state was exploring whether a small community or any community could achieve compliance under these guidelines and no.
Yeah.
No.
Be interested to say we have another system
Yeah.
that we're working with down in Mojave, and apparently they're gonna be trialing POU down there as well, but not sure how that's gonna work out or will.
Yeah.
Interested to see.
You're the easement problems on
Mm.
property too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's a blow up area, so we'll see. Yeah, no additional comments from us.
Okay, I think that's it then.
Appreciate y'all coming out.
Good to see you, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, thanks everybody online. Rest of
That's pretty good.
board meeting.
Thank you for being out, Jim.
Huh?